Good afternoon. As I said, my name is Michal Schlesinger, and I'm here to address you.
Michelle, you know you've got 5 minutes. And it's on the, thank you.
Absolutely realize that. I'm here to address you on behalf of B'nai Brith Canada's League for Human Rights. B'nai Brith Canada, as you may be aware, is this country's leading Jewish advocacy organization. Out of respect, indeed, for the 5-minute constraint to this address, I will be very brief. Despite the fact that Toronto's Jewish community comprises only 1% of the population, sadly, we have been the most targeted group in terms of hate crimes in this city for the past 4 years. B'nai Brith's 2018 audit of anti-Semitic incidents recorded 2,041 total incidents in Canada last year. And this is a new, disturbing, and most unwelcome record. As experts in anti-Semitism, we can tell you that hate-sponsored rallies are a key element of the anti-Semitic ecosystem here in Toronto. These rallies are typically organized by groups on the far right, as well as Islamic extremists, both of whom have a stated hatred of Jews. At times, it would appear that the Toronto Police Service does not take this particularly seriously, despite significant attention being paid to the problem by Toronto City Council. As a result, we wish you to know that we are concerned for the safety of Jewish individuals, groups, and facilities, and are not satisfied that this is being addressed, and we are therefore looking for accountability. Every year, the Al-Quds Day March, for example, takes place in downtown Toronto, attended mostly by people bussed in from other parts of the GTA, such as Richmond Hill and Pickering and so on. Attendees block major roads in downtown Toronto, while in recent years calling for Israelis to be, quote, shot or, quote, eradicated, or threatening Jews by carrying signs glorifying the ancient Battle of Khabur, in which the Jews of the Arabian Peninsula were murdered or expelled. While we respect free speech and freedom of expression, these events cross a line. The participants in the Al-Quds Day March freely promote virulent hate, and yet no one has been charged for the incitement these events advocate. Instead, 100 Toronto Police Services officers are dispatched to guard the rally at no cost to its organizers. These hate mongers rally in the streets of our fair city, and to add insult to injury, to dangerous injury, they do so without a permit and in a disorderly fashion. They create a public nuisance, including blocking traffic. The 100 TPS officers who guard the hate mongers rally do so at the expense of the taxpayers, but this is obviously not without real cost. The taxpayers of Toronto are paying for a platoon of officers to escort anti-Semitic hate parades. Isn't it time to remove the police protection for these racists and instead send them the bill? And even at this very moment as I address you, very obvious cases of advocacy to hate, anti-Semitism at rallies goes unpunished and are undeterred. Our failure to act encourages hate and fuels even more hate. And lest you believe this has a limited local impact, often the hateful behavior is then recorded and uploaded to hateful online sites. Recently, an individual attempted to disrupt the 2019 Walk with Israel event in North York while shouting that he loves Hitler and that Hitler should return to kill the Jews. B'nai Brith Canada performed extensive research to identify this man. We collected video evidence and reported him to TPS, but 2 months later, nothing has happened. The Jewish community, one of the most victimized groups, is watching and asks, where is the accountability? With respect to a second deputation that I would request opportunity to make. The next item, exactly.
Yeah, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank you.
Colleagues, any questions, Michelle? Chief, anything you wish to clarify and comment on in the deputy's comments?
Well, first off, with respect to the report, we certainly would like to take an opportunity to really the points that have been raised so that we can have more clarity. I think the public deserves that proper answer with respect to this particular issue. When we deal with hate crimes and understand and take quite seriously at all costs, because we know that if hate crimes are left unchecked, history has shown us what it can do. So I hope to reassure you that we do take these investigations incredibly seriously, and we don't necessarily do them on our own. We do it in consultation with other experts, because in order to present it to the Attorney General, who has to make the final decision on laying a charge or not, there have to be certain hurdles that have to be overcome in order to get there. It is complex in nature, and I certainly look forward to making sure that there is a fulsome report that will outline exactly all the steps that we do take with promoting, which is different than the actual hate crimes. The hate crimes are a lot clearer for us to create the grounds for that apprehension. But when it comes to promoting, distributing, and all those other factors, there's so many nuances to it. And right now, those that are involved in promoting, there seems to be a culture of just taking it to the nuance, knowing what line not to cross to make it become an unlawful act. And these are conversations we're having with certain platforms that are allowing messages to go through, the education piece on making us more aware and looking at best practices and things that we need to learn on. But I really do hope, Chair and Board, that we do take them seriously, and we will definitely try our best to give more light to what steps and involvements are necessary for us to get to where we need to get to.
Particularly concerning the 2018 Coup rally, is there anything you want to comment on that? Because
the investigation is not closed, and as I stated earlier,
okay.
We work in consultation with other agencies and experts in order to really try to do the best that we can for the proper and more importantly, lawful conclusions that we can reach. And so, Chair, that will be included in this report as well, too. It is one of the requests that is being asked, and we certainly want to do our very best to answer.
And sorry, because I missed it, when can we expect you to come back on this?
Next board meeting, September. So we'll answer this one by September.
Okay. Marie?
I have a question about the way one would be able, if we were to take our deputant's recommendation at face value, to charge the participants in a rally for policing services, because I do know that that's a model, regardless of what the purpose is, a rally that might be perceived as hateful or another type of community rally. Oftentimes there's either an insurance requirement that there be police officers or there are police officers. How would one, under this circumstance, be able to, or could one actually say, these are the leaders, and if one were to get permission to have this rally, they would then need to be told they need to pay for X amount of policing services?
Well, just in all fairness, our presence can rely on a multitude of factors, and one of them is a threat assessment. When we do have threat assessments which tell us historically what could or may happen, then it compels us as law enforcement to exercise the due diligence in our presence and what we do and what we can't do. Our primary role is to prevent breach of peace, but it certainly is in no way to offer supports to any particular entity. We stay neutral with that, but having said that, I really do think that this report will answer those things. I understand what the sensitivities are and what some of the gray areas or questions of concern are, and I hope to make that presentation as fulsome as possible to address all components and all touch points of this particular type of investigation, this type of protest or event, so that there's more clarity and more answers than questions with regards to the situation.
Okay, colleagues, Chief, we look forward to that. Thank you very much for your presentation, and thanks, Brith, for the work that you're doing. Thank you also for providing us with a written deputation as well as your oral one. We really appreciate it.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.